churches appear frequently in Constable's pictures, and St Mary's Church at Dedham appears the most. Mind you, it's not surprising when you look at that church tower. It's over 130 feet tall, very big for a parish church. But of course, because of this, it's one of the most prominent landmarks around for miles. Let's look at it from the other side. The church was completed in 1519, and one of the bells, which still rings today, was cast in 1410. It's the biggest church in the parish with a large regular congregation. Constable painted this church many times, but it always appears in the distance. But he also did a pencil sketch of the tower and the vicarage. In fact, I've got that on a postcard here. And it's amazing to see how he's elongated the church tower and made it thinner than it really is. Obviously to give it more height and more prominence. He used his artist's license. Anyway, he did this in almost the same spot where I'm standing. And I'm going to do exactly the same sketch from exactly the same spot. Now, the most important part, of course, of something like this is to get the relative sizes. And I'm just coming down the left-hand side of the tower, just giving myself markers. These areas here, where that is a bit lower actually than that, makes that smaller. Get the angle of the roof coming down, then decide on the width of the tower, and it's got this corner bit down here, which actually these are very wide, these corner areas. It's funny, I've been thinking about this particular sketch for quite a while now, knowing that I was going to come and do it and sit here in this spot. And it's, oh, that comes down to there, that's the roof. Then we get our porchway coming there. Roof comes from here. It's amazing to think that when I was at art school, and after all he was my inspiration, to think that I would be sitting here one day drawing the church and actually talking to people about this. It's a very strange bit of architecture that it's, oh I see, we've got a, that comes there, we've got a bit that gosh, this is, as I said before, this is not my, I always say this, it's like when you're drawing trees. It doesn't matter whether a branch goes up or down, is a bit longer, a bit shorter, a bit crooked or whatever. No one can ever tell. But when you're drawing something like this, of course, then naturally your lines have got to be reasonably accurate. But a lovely gravestone here, actually it takes the bottom, the end of the church off there. But that's sort of, just finishes our composition off that, with a gravestone. Now, the front of this is in shadow, so I'm going to just get some shadow on it. This is in shadow as well. Oh, we've got the clock. Do you know, it's amazing. I hadn't put the clock in when I drew that down. Mind you, I wasn't concentrating on detail, but it's amazing how I nearly forgot that. I wonder if Constable did that. Oh, well, you never know. I suppose he had the same problems as all artists, especially in his early days. And I've got the windows. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Shadow down this side. Now I want to just get this building in to suggest its position relative to the church. In fact, it's the vicarage. It's got this was an extension, this particular bit that I'm doing now. This wasn't there when Constable did his. And oh, that's a hedge. Obviously that wasn't there. And then that gives us the base. That's it. And this, what appears to be a chimney. In fact, oh, there we are. We've got an old roof on. That's nice. That's a nice roof. And then up there, and just putting this. This has got a sort of portcullis across there. In fact, this particular building, believe it or not, that I'm doing now, has got, I think the vicar told me it had something like 53 doors. That's internal doors inside it. That is a lot of doors. The last thing I want to do on this now is just to put a shadow that's cast on this side of the church. So I've got to be careful I don't smudge this. So I'm lifting my wrist up and just suggesting in downstrokes this shadow. Notice I'd drawn the shape so I knew where I was going. But that's important because it gives it more three-dimension. Now I want to suggest that starting this side of the wall, but because it's a sketch there's no point in going everywhere. It's just to give it that little bit of base there. That's it. And I think, just put that little bit there, I think that's it. Yes, I'm happy with that. I'll tell you one thing that I think I've done. The church tower is okay, but I think this is just a weeny bit too long, too deep, which has tended to make the tower a little shorter, although it is quite square, the tower. But perhaps it's the door down there that's just come a little low, and it's just tended to make the tower a little shorter, or appear a little shorter. I haven't exaggerated it to make it go right up. But there we are. I'm happy with it. And of course, I was sat where Constable was doing it, and that's a thrill.